Okay, so we are back for another part of this track from scratch. So last part we were looking at synths. We've got plenty there to keep the track interesting and varied, and we can add some as we go along. Off camera I have just found some vocals. So I didn't do it on camera just to save time through me searching through my hard drive. But what I've come across is two sample packs, two acapellas of quite well-known tracks. So you can probably see the title there if I stretch it out. So what I'm thinking for these are just sort of taking one shots and giving the listener something to listen out for and attach to, because this is a very underground track. It's very deep and rolling. The people who might be in the crowd might be new to this kind of music, may not quite understand it, but if they hear a recognised vocal shot or a vocal that they know, they may be able to get into the track a bit more. So I don't know what it sounds like.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Sure, you look kind of familiar.
Yeah, you too, but
Familiar.
yeah, you do too. But I just wanted to know, do you know somebody named... You know his name.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know his name.
So there's quite a few nice little one shots there, especially that beginning bit.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
In fact, I've actually used it in the track years and years ago under a different alias when I first started out producing. And then we have another one here. So we might be able to sort of stretch that out, put reverbs on it, reverse it, get some really cool effects on the go from that. So I'm not going to fiddle around that within session view. We've been in creating this groove for far too long as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into arrangement and we're going to get on the go with that. So first things first, when it comes to arrangement, what I do is I will record what I've made into 8 bars. So what we want to do is make sure we have everything on the go. That is everything. Why is nothing playing? There we go. So we're going to want to press the stop button. Whoops. And then record. Now if we press stop, get rid of the clip button up the top there. And now what we want to do is we want to open up all the groups, so then we can consolidate the clips all at once. Cool, so that will do the trick. And then highlight the top up at that loop section at the top, and then Command J. So now that's going to consolidate everything to an 8-bar loop, which is exactly what we want. So let's get rid of the automation lines and we can start to plan out how we're going to arrange this. So this part of the track, in my opinion, is the most daunting. As you can see here, like the whole screen is taken up and it goes to about 4 minutes 30, which isn't even the end of a house track. We still got about another minute or two after that. So the easiest way I find to break this down is I start looking at my clips or my loops over here on the left, and I start to think, okay, what's going to be pretty much constant throughout the whole track? So I know that that kick is going to be pretty much in the whole track besides a few breaks. So what I can do is I can delete it. I can duplicate this all the way across to, let's say, 6 minute 30. And then I'm going to leave the bass and come back to that. And then let's have a look at what drums we're going to have from the start. So let's have that one in from the beginning, let's say. We can duplicate him all the way till 6 minute 30. Put a marker on the end and call it end. Okay, what else? So So anything I know that I'm not going to have in from the start, I'll just sort of roughly drop and drag and put them in different parts of the arrangement. It doesn't mean this is where they're going to come in. It's just for the sake of getting them out of this intro section. So we can get rid of that snare one for a second. Whoops, get rid of that. So this was our call and response perk, I believe. So I'm going to want that to come in fairly early. So let's put him on like bar 25, let's say. So these shakers, I can pretty much guarantee I want them in from the beginning. So what we're going to do, right, duplicate these all the way across to the end, because we know that's going to stay in it. So listen to these tops, see if they're going to stay in it. So what we're just going to do, because this seems to be lagging, is we're going to pick all of this up, hold shift, drag them across, and let's put him on bar 97, because we're more than likely going to have everything playing by then. And we can use the same technique we were just using, as in finding what is going to be at the start and sort of rolling throughout the track, and then just putting it later on in the arrangement. So let's get back to these tops where we were. So I think I'm going to have these tops from the beginning. We can always change our mind later on. So let's duplicate them. Duplicate all the way across. Right, let's find out what perks we're going to have from the start. I'm probably going to have that one. Duplicate all across again. And now we can just listen to the sort of intro we have so far. So you can already see we started to get like this quite full intro sound. So I may leave this loop out during the first part. Let's see what it sounds like with this loop in. Yep, that sounds better. It's just less going on. Although there's more sounds, that sort of clave or clav that I was hearing panned off to the right. There's nothing to grab my attention at the minute, which is what I want during this intro. So let's have these synths running throughout the whole track, the ones that we made at the very beginning, these ones. And what we're going to do is going to highlight these, and we're going to bring them to the top. So I try to keep everything as organized as possible. So when a new element comes in, so let's just say this whistle was to come in next, I'd then put him underneath this filtered chord, because he's then next in the arrangement. So you almost get this like staggered effect. So you can see what comes in last and what comes in first, and it just makes the project nicer to look at and all a bit more organized. So we're going to do the same with this one here. So we're going to lift him up to the top. So then we can see these percussions are rolling throughout the whole track. So I might leave those out for maybe just 16 bars. Let's see what. Get rid of that one. So that one sounds quite nice, so I'm going to leave that one in from the start. And like I said, just move him to the top, because he's the first synth in that group. Let's have a look at what else we can do. So we definitely know these textures. They may need consolidating quickly. Let's have a look. Okay, so then they can be copied across. Boom. And there you go. So we've just gone through sort of the basics of each individual channel and just sort of gone, right, this sound's going to come in here, this sound's going to come in there. And what we can do now is we can do a rolling arrangement, is what I call it. So I'm just going to turn this up. There we go. So then I can start to think, okay, what am I going to have to come in on the 8-bar? So on that 8-bar, to me, when I'm just sort of forward thinking and then backwards, forward thinking to backwards planning, I can sort of hear that clap coming in a bit more prominent. So we've got that quiet one just to keep the groove rolling. Or we can try it on the 16 and maybe try the hi-hats coming in a bit more. See what that sounds like. Maybe drop out the kick. So I quite like that clap coming in on the 16th, but maybe this one needs to come in a bit sooner. Let's try it like this. Let's remove those. So I quite like that. So what we're going to do is going to put that on the end, and we're going to do shorten the loop for the minute, and then do that. Let's just listen to that from the beginning again. We'll get a feel for it. I don't know, I quite like it playing all the way actually. So maybe let's have a look at having this sub in maybe. So I'm feeling like 32 is where I want all the groove to come in. So we're just going to label that all groove. So maybe let's try shortening this one down and go in loop. Leave that one out when the clap comes in. Yeah, so that sounds a bit of a vibe. So that one actually sounds quite nice coming in there. And then we had our main sort of percussion thing, which I liked what it did towards the end. So maybe let's do that. So maybe let's try it on the end of every 8 bars. So let's get rid of that one. Or, in fact, let's try Command E just to split the clip, and then go R to reverse. Maybe try put it there. So these finer little details, like this little reverse hit there, can really add like a massive polish to your track. You're not going to notice them in a club at all, but when sending to labels, when sending to professional big time DJs, they're going to be able to hear these subtle little differences, and they're really going to help your track stand out from everyone else. So we can do this with our top loops as well. So if I just put R again, it has this really nice sort of sucked in effect. So I don't want to do it on everything, but maybe try it on this one. That sounds cool. Maybe try a different bass hit. Let's just deactivate that one. So they're on knock, so they're just there to add rhythm. Maybe it was this one. That's quite cool. And then again on the 8 bar, so Command C, Command V. Maybe just like low cut. Yeah, so that sounds cool. So what we can do now is we can start duplicating stuff that we've just added during the intro pretty much all the way to the end. So if we start from the top with this first bass hit, we can go all the way to the end and then go back on ourselves 16 bars. So it's pretty much replicating the intro. We can do the same with this one. Go all the way to the end and then Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Again, replicating the intro. The clap can go all the way to the end, bar 16 bars. Same with this hi-hat that comes in. May want to leave them in a bit longer, who knows, we'll see. And then what else have we added in? So all of those synths are fine. So we got this one here. So he can come in as a full groove until the last 32 bars, and then we can copy Command C, Command V. So now it almost repeats what it's doing at the beginning. So we can go outro. So now that's got our intro and our outro. And now we're going to want our main bass line to come in. So I can duplicate that all the way across to there. And we've got a lot of stuff to play around with, so let's put, whoops, what have I done there? So let's put those there as well. Probably get away with adding in maybe like a more upfront hat. So that was the end of an 8 bar, so I could hear something else, like just sort of more of a, yeah, something like that, just to sort of start elevating the groove. So we can copy that one all the way across. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the kick, and because of that, I can sort of gauge where I want my first break, which is going to be on bar 65. So we've added on 41 with this hi-hat here. So we need to have something on 49 new. So I might leave these hi-hats out for later. So we've got that one, which, and our sort of main open hat. So that's pretty much our drum sorted. So like what I can do is, we're probably going to have a 16 bar break to start with. So I'm going to drop. So we can then, let's say, have that hat there and then save this hat for later on. Now we've still got loads of percussion to play around with, and we haven't even touched on our synths yet, which is exactly how I like to have it when I'm arranging. So let's just have a listen. So we can do something like that for a minute. And if we just open up the automation line, what we can do on the master is we have our device on, which was that auto filter that I was using through my keyboard shortcut. So during the intro, I actually want the kick to have the bass. If I take it away, it just feels too empty. I'm just going to have these little sort of low end cuts. Now I can really start mapping out when things are going to happen. So we can put fill here. And then drop. Felt like that one was a bit too in your face when it came in, so let's delete him for the minute. So something needs to happen here. So let's have a look at what we've got percussion wise that we can play around with. So there's actually not too much more percussion to add in, because we said we're going to add these in as a group at some point. So probably here, if we actually look at the arrangement, that's probably a nice place to actually have them. So now we can start looking at adding maybe a few different synth sounds. So in fact, we could start maybe looking at adding some of the pads and stuff. I don't know, I can't remember which this one was. So I really like that whistle sort of when like the breaks are happening maybe. So let's continue, see what else we can add. So we've added that sort of echo synth there. We've got these sort of I'm going to add those in there actually. Why is that not copied across properly? Ah, it's because that's meant to be up there, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, that's why. So let's delete them. So we're going to leave that one for a bit later on, I think. This organ can be put down for the minute. What was this one? Yeah, so that one's nice. So this sort of dub thing I've created here, I'm pretty much going to keep that in up until like the last sort of break. So do something like this. Add maybe these knocks in there. And then we can add in this hi-hat again, that sort of layer. Add a locator. So that was actually really nice how that happened. I don't know if that was meant to be there. It wasn't, but I'm going to keep it there. So let's just extend them out there. So now he's an 8-bar loop. And remember, we have this Atmos pad. Let's click on that one. Yeah, so that's really cool. So I'm gonna put, just sort of create a MIDI loop or track or whatever you want to call it. So I know when I get to this part of the arrangement that I need to add this in. So I'm sort of thinking I could probably get away with adding acid in here now. Quite nice how it sort of dipped, and there I feel like you could have that sort of little break where it's still rolling, but then you can have sort of come back in. So let's just call it drop, even though it's not drop. Call that break. And then we can maybe change up the hi-hat and go into this one. So just let's shorten him down, and now there we go, he's back on the correct grid. So yeah, so maybe let's add in the BJR bass hit here. So we can start duplicating these across. I can't remember what this was. Do something like that. It just needs to be cut short. Sometimes the MIDI still plays for some reason. There's nothing even on this for a minute, so let's just get rid of that. We've got plenty to work with. And this was, what was this? Let's leave him out actually. Do something like that. Just leave him out. high pitched noise coming in there. And definitely we need to have this break now because it's been rolling for quite a long time. So let's just go, whoops, let's go rename. Break. This is going to be our main break. So we had a 16 bar break to start with. So we may go a tiny bit longer. I don't think it needs to be a 32 bar break for this style of track. So we're going to want this main pad in pretty much from here. You could even maybe start rising a bit before. We'll figure that out later. We're going to layer him with this atmosphere pad. And then we can just leave that there for the minute. Maybe let him come in a bit later on. Could even be on the outro, who knows. And then we're going to want to just start organizing these clips as well. Do something like that. And we're just going to put a low cut across that whole break. We may leave some low end in, we may automate it, and so on and so forth. Again, this is a visual reference for me to look at of where my breaks are going to be. And you can sort of see how the style of track is going to be just from looking at this automation line of it turning on and off. So we have really only 2 breaks, which is exactly focused back on where sort of we got to, which was this main break. So when it comes in, we're going to want that main hi-hat to sort of come in on the drop. That release hi-hat to sort of pick up the energy. So a bit later on. This one to come in now. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and we're going to highlight it all. I'm actually going to shift it over 8 bars. And I'm going to go here, highlight, Command D. So now we have sort of like a 32 bar course, if you want to call it. And our outro is still 32 bars. But I just feel like that's going to work better for the style of track. So we just need to change these automation lines here because they haven't copied across properly. Cool, and there you go. You can sort of just see now how quickly I've managed to get a rough arrangement. I've sort of got some of the elements in place. I can figure that out as I go along. But in the space of, let's see how long we've been recording, about 30 to 40 minutes, even less if I didn't talk, we have then got a track that we can visually now look at and see a clear start and a clear end, where our breakdowns are going to be, where our little fills are going to be, and start to get a real feel of how the track is going to progress and develop. So now it's just a case of doing the actual arrangement, so going from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar, from the start all the way to the end. So we will start doing the rest of the arrangement in the next video.